They look out west, they see Arizona, where the people have said no more illegal aliens. They look more at the heart of the nation, the central part of the nation, if you will. They see Wisconsin. They poured so much money into buying a Supreme Court justice, and it looks like, at least for now, that they failed. Oh, the misery. And it's no better when they look east. In blue states where they've lost governorships, they see it slipping away. So they'll say anything, and apparently do anything, like withhold paying our military personnel. That's a distraction. To try and persuade the drones out there, the fools out there, that somehow, unless the government gets bigger and bigger, unless the debt gets bigger and bigger, unless you keep electing mindless, pathetic liberals to high office, the nation will not survive. Let me tell you something. The nation will not survive with the Nancy Pelosi's, the Louise Slaughters, the Barack Obamas, the Harry Reids, and all the other coconuts on the left, all the other knuckleheads on the left. We cannot survive as long as these people are in power. Now, I was attacked by these morons who get their little websites. One of these jerks who writes for the New York Slimes and appears on Pubic Broadcasting System from time to time, when I said, shut down the damn government. Shut it. Now we have the voice. Yeah, shut it down. Okay, shut up. Shut it down. And we will prove that we as a people are bigger than our bureaucracy. We will prove that we as a people are bigger than any one program. We will prove that we are bigger than any liberal organization in this nation. That most of us are still self-sufficient. Most of us still have free will. We're not bound like slaves to a welfare state. Most of us will do just fine if the government gets the hell out of the way. And if they want to shut it down for a month, shut it. I'm sick and tired of this. They demand federal holidays when they're not working, and they get paid for it. Then it's okay. But if they're told not to show up for work and they don't get paid for it, then we're told, oh, hell's going to break loose. Let me ask you something, ABC Television News, George Stephanopoulos, with your little story there. Well, what's his ass? What was his name? Jonathan Karl. Where were you on any of the federal holidays? Were you looking at the museums then? Did checks go out on any federal holiday? Why don't you check that out? As a matter of fact, on federal holidays, even the post office is closed. But that's okay. We like federal holidays. If we gave them 25 more federal holidays, they would be thrilled. Screw the taxpayer. Screw the services. Doesn't matter what comes to a halt. Then it's okay. But if you shut it down in order to save the damn nation, because they've already spent us into oblivion, then all of a sudden we're worried about the museums and everything else. Notice? Have you noticed? So when the government is in effect shut down on federal holidays, we celebrate. Oh, it's a 3-day weekend. I'm going shopping. Oh, I'm going to the baseball game. Oh, I'm traveling with Mildred. Oh, it's a grand old time. We don't get all these stories about people not getting services, do we? But if you say, you know what, go home, we got to save some money. Oh, my God! The popcorn concession at Yellowstone National Park will be closed. What will I do? Well, go back to Starbucks. That's what you can do. You know, if you're smart, and you are, and you really think about these things, you realize how they try to play us. And the media in this country is largely a propaganda arm of the government. They sit around, these reporters, waiting for facts. I've seen it. I'm not going to get into the particulars because it's not fair to the people who I worked with, but I've seen it. The faxes come in, they look at the faxes, they pile up. This one I'll keep, this one I'll get rid. Maybe they'll make a call, maybe they'll even get off their ass every now and then and go take a look at the office or the agency or interview somebody. But they prefer to have this stuff spoon-fed to them while they're sitting at their desk. And the government knows that. These bureaucrats know it. That's why they put their little list together. Oh, my God, this hazard waste site that hasn't been cleaned up for 30 years, all of a sudden it's a priority and a disaster. All of a sudden, all the things the government hasn't done that it says it's going to do, it was going to do yesterday. You notice that, too? All of a sudden, 300 million Americans want to go to the Smithsonian Museum all at once on the day it's closed. Have you noticed that? All of a sudden, nobody who's ever thought about going to Yellowstone National Park, geez, I was going to go there, but they shut it down. Oh, my God. Don't let them play us like this. This is a joke. But I do have a question. Why are people on welfare guaranteed checks through a government shutdown, but military personnel are not guaranteed their pay for their work? How the hell did that happen? And I have a question for President Obama. Maybe one of you astute so-called reporters may ask him if he ever shows up and actually allows you to question him. Why should a private go without a timely check, but you, Mr. President, you get your check right on time? Does that sound fair to you? How about setting an example, Mr. President? As long as the government shut down, you won't take a paycheck either. I have another one. You told some poor guy that has 10 kids the other day in Pennsylvania, in a truck that gets about 8 gallons to the mile, you said, or 8 miles to the gallon, rather, that he ought to get a hybrid. Why do you use Air Force One more than any other president I can remember? And it's a big Air Force One, not like the one before. That's a 747, baby, with all kinds of backup engines and all the rest. Why do you preach sacrifice, green jobs, alternative fuels, and yet you use fuel like no president I've ever seen? And what have you sacrificed exactly, Mr. President? Have you sacrificed a round of golf, game of hoops, a meal, a chef, a suit? What exactly have you sacrificed, Mr. President? So the question is, when the government does shut down, here's hoping. That's right, I said it. When the government does shut down, what are you going to do? You going to keep flying around? Or are you going to act busy? You're going to get up before 9:30? Your meetings seem to start at 9:30 in the morning. Will you get up at 6, 7, like the rest of us? What exactly are you going to do, Mr. President? Where's your sacrifice? Why should you get paid when a private in the United States Army does not? That's my question for the day. Why should a welfare recipient get... my second question. Why should a welfare recipient get paid, but a private in the United States Army does not? Oh, I'm not hearing... Maybe one of you libs, one of you drones, one of you losers can call in and explain that to me. And while you're at it, tell the rest of the nation listening to this program why the president won't sign a document stating that military personnel will be paid and paid on time as they were under Reagan and Clinton. Why won't your man do that? Why does he seek to withhold the pay of some young person in a foxhole in Iraq, putting his or her life on the line? Maybe one of you liberals can explain that to me, too.